So first of all, thank you to Ursula and Patricia for inviting me and giving the chance to share our story with the audience. And as you will see during the presentation, we are heartful collaborators. So we really would encourage you also to contact us if you find something interesting for a partnership or for a collaboration. Silicon Vilstal is a rural area in Lower Bavaria. This is the southeastern part of Germany. And you see here, this is a picture of our region. Our work is related to several of the SDGs. And below are some logos of awards that we got over time. So it might feel like a remote region, but in fact, we are at the very core of Europe, somewhere in the middle between Strasbourg and Vienna. And I think this broader view is one idea that I could share. Often rural regions see them as remote, as distant from the next metropole. But if you see it from a European perspective, you might find out that your rural region is right in the middle of Europe and the perfect place for starting some innovation. Our reason to be is we foster social innovation and make digital opportunities for rural regions tangible. Tangible means we try to make digital innovation tryable for the people and very practical. And what we do is we organize projects and events in the fields of STEM education, entrepreneurship, and culture. We don't have large infrastructure that we run or a shop that we open every day. We are a project organization, and this is a little bit more lightweight, and we feel that we can achieve more doing projects instead of building an infrastructure physical. We might do that in the future, but so far we do projects and events. We started in 2016 with an experience festival. This also is something I would recommend to someone that wants to start a social initiative or innovation initiative, in particular in a rural area. I think it's always a good idea to start with a party. In our case, it was a special birthday that I had myself in 2016, and I always wanted to give a very large party, and had long time I had no idea what the party could look like. And then in May 2016, I said, well, then let's do a Silicon Vilstal Experience Festival. And this party-like style and lightweight approach still is part of our culture in the team. And for parties or festive events, it's always easy to include a broad range of capabilities of volunteers. For instance, if someone is a great baker and does cakes, you wouldn't think of such a capability at first when thinking about social innovation. But for an event, you can include even talents like that. And okay, so we did the first festival in 2016 and do it annually since then, as not only as a singular event, but also as a milestone for projects that run during the year. For instance, the 2017, we used the festival as a kind of a living lab. We named it Region as a Lab. So we provide our region as a test bed to early stage startups that we invite to our region. And most often they haven't so far left the PowerPoint reality, and we give them real reality. So we give them real people, real companies to interact with in our region. And we find that such a rural region where you can approach people or small enterprises easier than in urban centers is ideal to be like a living lab for startups. And in 2017, in particular, we did a project with a mobility startup, with a mobility approach for rural regions. And we run that prototyping project over the summer. And in the festival, during the festival in autumn, the people could test ride their offerings, because we organized a little fleet of cars that we got from car dealers. We had drivers as volunteer people, and so we had a little fleet to test ride their mobility offering during the festival. So it not only helped the startup to develop their ideas, it also enriched the festival experience, and it was also a learning opportunity for the rural people involved. So for us, it's very important to have learning effects on both sides. The startups can learn about reality, and the people here can learn about digital innovation. On a high-level format, because it's not telling the rural people what is right and what is digital. It's just that they help someone test try something, and by doing so, they learn on a very subtle way. 2018, we also started to use the Experience Festival as like a launch pad for new ideas and test ride offerings at the festival that then went into long-term projects. And after 3 years, then early 2019, we also worked on our own structure and on a more sustainable way to run programs, how to organize and administer funds and so. And the first 3 years, we just have been a group of people doing something, and we only in 2019 started to have a legal form. This was something I thought almost years about. What is the right legal form for such an initiative? And I first thought about an association that would be the typical legal form, and but learned when I asked volunteers. For a couple of them, it was more appropriate just to help instead of being a formal member of something. One guy said, I will help you next year again, but I wouldn't be a member of an association. And so in the end, we took the legal form of, it's kind of a small limited liability company that is a legal form here in Germany. We are officially not for profit. So I think this is something, if it's not an association or another type of participatory legal form, I think the official statement of being not for profit is very important and helpful also for the people to know that this is not a commercial activity.
Helmut, if you can finish more or less in 2 minutes, and then we will have more time to discuss with you.
You see some logos down there. So we, for instance, are one of the first members of the Social Entrepreneurship Network in Germany. We got some awards.
Sorry to interrupt. We are still in the previous slide of the footprint of over the 5 years.
Yeah, I'm 2.
Okay, sorry.
So The logos down there are just to illustrate that over time we got into some memberships and got some awards. This is also helpful to get credibility in the local environment, especially when talking with official institutions. It's helpful if you have some official larger scale memberships or awards. It helps to get peer level discussions, high level discussions with them. Okay, so just to mention two European activities. On the left side, we are the first German partner of the new European Bauhaus program of the European Commission. For them, it was not only interesting what we do, but it was also interesting for them that we do this out of a rural region. And often rural regions are seen as less capable. What isn't, I don't think is the case. But for some national or cross-national programs like the European Bauhaus program, they have so many urban initiatives that they know, and many of them are happy to have also rural representatives, and this is, so to say, a chance, an opportunity for rural initiatives. Social economy is also a topic where we do projects in our entrepreneurship activities. The social entrepreneurship is got more and more relevant, and we then were asked by the European Commission, by the cluster people there, if we would be interested to be one of the European pilot social economy clusters. This is a new type of cluster that the Commission sets up, and we then have accredited there and joined forces last year with other social economy clusters in Europe. And now we run a social startup program called Social Tech for Europe. It's so far the largest Europe-wide social startup program. And for such a program, you need organizational talent. You don't need large infrastructures or large buildings. You just have to run the program. You can do many things there on a virtual, on an online basis, like we meet today. And I think after the pandemic, as everyone is used to online sessions, you can really do incredible things out of rural regions.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Helmut. Yes, you have the light slide with
that's the last one.
Common events.
Just if you got interested to physically visit Silicon Vilstal, we have two opportunities in September. One is our annual Experience Festival, and the other one is a Social Impact Hackathon in September. If you want more information on these events or how to partner, just contact us. You will find us on the web, on social media. Use whatever channel is appropriate for you. Thanks for your interest and for the invitation. And
thanks a lot, Helmut. It's been very interesting to see how you started with a party and how that party has really grown into something very meaningful in your rural area. I just for our attendees, for our participants, we will have more opportunity for questions later. So please bear them in mind or write them down in the chat, or I will give you the floor later. But to continue with the session, I will now invite the second panelist that should be here with us, Milan Medić, the manager. Hello, Milan. Good morning. The manager of the local action group Valis Kolapis in Croatia, and you are going to present an innovative that has received ESF funding. We heard before about the ESF funding, so this is a concrete example on rural sustainability through female social entrepreneurship in the Croatian city of Duga Resa. And you are going to address, concretely speaking, the topic on how also to involve the the key actors, the key local actors to make this a success. So please, Milan, go ahead and share a bit more with us of this social entrepreneurship initiative. Sorry, Milan, you are mute, so if you can.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Hello, everybody. Greetings from Croatia. Thank you to Patricia and to others, Ursula and others from Rural Pact to give me opportunity to say a few words and share our experience. Let me share screen with you. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
We see it. If you can put it in a presentation mode, probably then it's bigger for the rest of the.
Let me see. Is it better now? Okay.
We still see it in a slide mode. If you go down in the screen, you might see the presentation mode. Otherwise, we can, or on the top, also you have the TV.
I don't know how to do it.
Present it. Otherwise, let's.
You have to click on the screen first to get into the presentation, because you're probably in your Zoom now.
Yes.
Click anywhere on the PowerPoint, and then you would be able to go down at the bottom too. Otherwise, if you want, we can share it for you.
Can you share, please? Because I have obviously.
Okay, Julie, you ready? Just
Yes, if you stop sharing, our colleague will put it up.
Great, thanks.
Okay.
Translate, please, Milan.
Okay, so I am a manager of local action group Valisko Lapis in Croatia. I will present an example of the project funded by European Social Fund, and that was a call for strengthening of social entrepreneurs in Croatia. Next, please. Our local action group is in central Croatia. I hope you can get some idea where we are in the central Croatia. We have 14 municipalities and small rural cities, and it is about 1,500 square kilometers, and population counts at around 95,000 inhabitants. The part of our local action group has very border character. We are bordering with Slovenia in the western part of our local action group, while the rest of local action group goes in Croatian mainland. Next, please. So here we are going to see an example of a small social enterprise in city of Duga Resa. Duga Resa is a very small city. In our local action group, population is around 11,000 inhabitants, and we have many problems, of course. Unfortunately, very high rate of unemployment, and that causes the population. People are just living, and you can see 3 last censuses, the local population is dropping from Duga Resa used to have a little bit more about 12,000 inhabitants, and now it lost almost 2,000 inhabitants during last 20 years. Before Duga Resa used to be a textile industry center with more than 3,000 workplaces, and especially for female workforce. And now, due to lack of industrialization, people are mainly focused on tourism and agriculture. Next, please. So our local action group recognized a possibility to support local cheese cottage industry, small factory Milka, they call it Milka. And the business actually started a few years ago, 5-6 years ago, 2017. and it is a family-owned small-scale company. It has 5 employees, and they are buying milk from 17 families, farmers, local farmers, who are their partners, and they're producing milk for them. And they're producing cheese, yogurt, kefir, butter, and similar products, dairy products, and supplying 3 local Croatian chains in central Croatia, mainly from the coastal area to the capital of the country. Next, please. So we were able to get a grant for them from European Social Fund. Grant was almost 140,000 euros, a little bit less, and it started in October 2001, and the project will finish in June this year. And we made a partnership beneficiary. A leading partner of the project is cottage cheese industry Milka, while Local Action Group is a partner. We find this very interesting partnership because local businessmen, local entrepreneurs doesn't have very much experience with the EU grants, and they don't know how to send reports, financial narrative reports. So this business is done by us, administration of Local Action Group, while they can focus mainly on their own business and to improve their business skills, etc. So the money goes mainly for the support was for the transformation of the classical small-scale company, limited the society of limited society to the social enterprise, and being supported by European Social Fund. Mainly the majority of support goes to the salaries and to the education of employees, and small amount of support goes, of course, to promotion. Okay, next. So of course the company was transformed in this process. They adopted a triple bottom line, saying that they decide about their mission. Of course, being a small company in rural area with high rate of unemployment, their community mission is to secure employment to local workforce, especially to unemployed youth and women. Speaking about environmental goals, they strive to introduce ecological standards in dairy production. They are classical milk company. They are not yet. They don't produce yet ecological the products with ecological labels. Their producers are all classic farmers, but in future we will try our best to encourage them slowly and gradually to shift to completely ecological production, and to get all labels for that type of production. And of course they are reinvesting 75% of their income to fulfill the mission of the company. And that was of course added to their mission in their constitution. In Croatia, we do not have a legal framework for social enterprises. Don't have any law on social enterprises. So it is just up to the company to decide and to follow this rules and that mission. And we are trying our best from the bottom up, to start. We are also a member of Croatian network of social enterprises, and the campaign goes, of course, towards our governmental bodies to introduce a law framework for social enterprises and to start some support mechanisms as well. So far, we are using only support from European Social Fund. Next, please.
Yes, you have 1 minute.
Yeah, I'm just finishing. Yes. So here is some data about our performances of our financial performance of our local action group. In Croatia, we have only mono founding of Leaders CLLD through European Agriculture Fund for Rural Development. You can see here that our local action group invested much more money, up to 8.5 million of euros during last programming period, including, of course, these 2 years of transition period. And the majority of money we invested in our rural area comes from European Social Fund. This project that I presented now was just one among them. We were able to get 4.4 million euros from different SF projects, and part of this support goes to support for social enterprises, and cheese factory Milka was only one of them. Beside the factory Milka, we also supported another 3 social enterprises, but that will be perhaps another opportunity sometimes in future for me to present. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks a lot, Milan, and actually, thank you very much. There is in the chat already ongoing a bit of a debate on actually this support that the local action groups provides to the actors in the rural areas. Let's spin in, and then we go back to that debate maybe once we finish the third, but definitely not the last presentation of this session this morning. Thanks again, Milan. And now I would like to give the floor, to welcome and to give the floor to our third panelist, Jarosław Kuba from Bałtów social enterprise in Poland, who is going to tell us a bit slightly different social enterprise, I would say, very, very interesting, very special, and that has been running already for many years. And that's the reason why you are going to focus this presentation on ensuring the long-term sustainability of a social enterprise. So good morning, Jarek. I hope it's okay that I call you Jarek.
Hello to everybody. Yeah, hello to everybody. It's a pleasure to be with you. To start, I will tell you that sorry for my English, it's not quite good. Maybe it's terrible. Therefore, my friend Arek will help me with the presentation and the panel. Therefore, sorry. I am the president of local action group. We created the local action group in 1999. It was the first step. We've organized the local action group, and the 2003 we started working with local action group. And local action group is organized who help to start association in Bałtów in 2002. The local action group Circle Flint is the name, help and support change the Bałtów from the 2002. Bałtów is a little small village. It's about 4,000 inhabitants, and the condition of this village was really terrible in the start of my activities. I can say that there was nothing, really nothing. The unemployment was 37%. It's very, very, very high. And the infrastructure like water supply, pipeline, no culture, no center, no community hall. Therefore, the local people started create. Next, please, slides. Next, please. The local people want to change the situation, and they create association Balt for local development of village Bałtów, and postawili. Amen? Postawili na. Dobra, develop the local economy based on a coherent tourism product, because the area is very, very nature and beautiful. And the second step was thinking was create jobs and of course reduce the unemployment. The most important was build the community spirit and restore the heritage. Of course, we thinking in this starting about improve infrastructure to facilitate business local development and create a local association, what I said 5 minutes ago. Next, please. The first idea and the first business accent of the social enterprise was start rafting on the local Kamienna River on 2003. It was really the very most important accent for the local development, when the idea social economic and partnership was very strong for the local development, economic and the social. In the 2003, it was really unique in the Poland. 14,000 tourists visit the Bałtów. It was very shock for the local people, because for very many years nobody from this village, from this part area coming to Bałtów, because was nothing. The rafting for us was very good, successful, and we think that it's a good way, of course, tourists, for the local development. And we, for 1 year, searching new product or subject touristic for starting new areas touristic. And we find that dinosaurs footprint in Bałtów from the 150 million years ago, from the Jurassic area, and started thinking about create the first Jurassic Park in Poland and of this part of Europe. And in 2003 we create Jurassic Park in Poland, and was the very good step, because the Jurassic Park from the 2003 or 4 was one of the fastest development product touristic in Poland. from the 2008, 2009, every year in Bałtów is 500,000 tourists every year. For us, was very good start to develop all sectors in Bałtów. Every year we invest for develop the touristic product about 1 million euro. Every year we started with new attraction, like on this slide, as horse riding center, winter sport, and many new attraction. Now we have complex, one of the biggest complex touristic in Poland, for about 100 hectares areas.
Yes, Jarek, if you can conclude in a minute, now that I think you were speaking about the current situation of the project.
Mm-hmm. We create consortium podmiotów ekonomii społecznej. Subject of social enterprise, Association Bałt, Association Delta, Local Action Group Circle Flint. It was 15 years ago. Now this picture show you how the Jurassic Park look in the Bałtów. Next slide, please. The social enterprise have a very big influence for showing faster per capita income growth than other municipalities in area. Every time, every year, every month, we saw a new business in Bałtów, and very important for us is including rural touristic farms. Now we have 55. I think that in this year we will have about next 40. In 2002 we create 6 jobs, but now we have in all social enterprises about 300 jobs in 2003. I think that in this year will be 350. Next picture, please.
Yes, if we can conclude, please, Jarek.
Okay. Now we create new area in Bałtów government. The village Pętkowice is 2 kilometers from Bałtów. We create wioska tematyczna. We create thematic village when 3 organize Association Circle Flint, Association Edu Bałt, and Association Edu Nature create this village. And we will do in this village inkubator pszczelarski, bee incubator, laboratory, the garden on the area 100 hectares, old place for heritage local product, and bee farm. And management of this village area will be free association, local action group, Edi Nature, and Edi Bałt.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jarek.
Now working in this bee farm about 11 people.
Can I just jump in? I'm asking Julie to jump to the last slide. I think it's the most important one, really, just to say what are the key factors why this has been sustainable in the long term. So I think maybe just to let Jarek.
We know that it's a big challenge to explain more than 20 years of hard work in just like 8 minutes. Sorry, Jarek, that we asked you to this difficult task. So you can conclude this.
The most important was with the leader who have the business experience. It's the most important. The second was the many organization who has the rule, economic, social, incubation. The third, we had many funding sources, because I always tell my friend, not one single source for funding money. The fourth, every initiative and organization and business has a very strong local and beyond in Bałtów. The people who create this Jurassic Park and the complex are from Bałtów. This is the most important for us. We have a root from the local people. Okay, yeah. Thank you very much. Sorry for my English.
Not at all, Jarek. We could understand you perfectly. So thanks a lot. Thanks for being here, and thanks for making the big effort of sharing all this in such a short time. Let's quickly, maybe I will ask my colleague from my team if we can bring the 3 panelists together. I would also like to invite our guest of honor, Gianluca Pastorelli, the president of the ESIS, that might also say a few words. And meantime, we are doing these technicalities of putting us in the spotlight as the panel, online panel. We were in a conference room, we will be one next to the other with some bottle of waters. And actually there was this ongoing debate in the chat of the role of the local action group, of the support, how it might be different, of course, from one region to another, acting as this bridge and connectors. And I was wondering if I could put somebody from the audience in the spot and maybe raise the hand to comment on that, because you were having a participatory discussion. I think it was Sofia Quintanero from Alma Natura who started it, wondering about this role of the local action group in terms of support, and then other participants were sharing their experience. So if any of you, Diego, Gita, Sofia, would like to raise your hand. Yes, I convinced you, Sofia. So good morning, Sofia Quintanero, please.
Hi, Patricia, good morning. I was just playing the devil's advocate, and I wanted to read what was the opinion of the people in here, because we have a very local action within our company, and it's true that I really believe that local action groups have a very specific role and a very important when it gets to get financing, not only from institutions in Spain, for example, in our case, but also reaching to supranational financing. And we always get to the same problem, which is entrepreneurs, sometimes they don't really know where to start. So beginning their own entrepreneurship might be difficult sometimes, but even knowing which different sources, institutions, what alternatives are available for them, which are so many at the moment, we have this main challenge to get them to know them all, to know how to contact them. And of course, the most important thing is to be human in that contact, in that first contact with them. It is our main challenge, and I know it is different from region, even in Spain. That's why they were partially agreeing, and I know it. But yeah,
it's particular, yes, as we all been saying. So yes, this big challenge. Where do we start? I would like to give maybe each of you like a minute or so if you want to comment, maybe, or where do you start? We heard, for instance, at the beginning from Helmut, they start with a party, but maybe also, I don't know if you, Luca, wanted to comment something on this, because the SES is also very, well, the largest network, as Anastasia said, in social economy and enterprises in Europe, and you've been analyzing a lot of different models. So maybe you have also an insider view on this, that what would you recommend? Where do we start?
Yes. After our colleagues, I will add on that. That is
okay. Yes. So who would like, Helmut, would you like
first? Yeah, as
say
you,
something? I think you presented.
As you already have mentioned it, Patricia, a party is always a good point to start. I would like to differ between enabling organizations like we are, and I think most of the audience, and the entrepreneurs of the social enterprises themselves. And for such an enabling organization in the rural region, I would think it's really a good idea to do some kind of event, so that you are visible and that you have a first and low barrier, easy opportunity to collaborate with others. I really fully agree with the last slide that Jarosław presented with the success factors. It's important to work with others. You can immediately scale your power and resources if you interact with others and are kind of a curator. And regarding the social enterprises themselves, when they start, well, I think it's like any other startup activity. It's important to very early deal with the target groups and to co-create with them. This is what we try to help them. We bring them into contact with test users and so on. But I've seen many social enterprise business models that are slightly more complicated than in other industries, because they often have several parties that they need for their model. Not only the consumers, but also other enterprises. For instance, we had a women team here that have been very courageous in setting up a glass-based circular system for gastronomy and retail. But their model only works if the retailers and the restaurants work with them together, and additionally the consumers accept it. So it's sometimes for them complicated to have such a nucleus of an ecosystem that works, and we try to set up for a short period of time such a test ecosystem so that they can work with all these actors.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Helmut. Yes, the social innovation ecosystem, the co-creation and the putting the end users can be very useful to design the solutions with the social entrepreneurs. And I don't know, you have other remarks. I also wanted to maybe to go back to Milan, because I think actually the debate came in when you were presenting the support that you give as a local action group, because you said that the struggle also of the social entrepreneurs in deal perhaps with bureaucracy, with reports, and you mentioned that you are now looking also at the next programming period and the support that you will continue to give them beyond that. So maybe you can also try to reply a bit of what Sophia challenge is, or how you are dealing with it in your case.
Yeah, Sophia said she asked how to start, where from to start. I would say to start from local leaders. Our main job is, at least we are having such approach. We are never preaching to the people. We never try to convince them to do something. In contrast to this, we are trying to identify local leaders in our community, regardless is that leaders in NGOs, leaders in culture, or leaders in business. So it is much easier if we have already a businessman or business lady who has a business idea, and they just want to do something that they are lacking in resources, and we fit nicely in this equation. We very often procure them with support, financial support, or other types of technical and organizational support, and they just start to work their business as they planned. We noticed that for majority, if not all, micro and small businesses in rural communities, the basic rules of social entrepreneurship almost perfectly fit. They fit in that. They are anyway reinvesting at least 75% of their incomes to the company. Their companies, their micro and small companies, are locally owned. They are doing great impact, social and environmental impact to the local community. So we find we find social entrepreneurship as a good tool for development of rural areas with high unemployment and the population like we are here in Croatia.
Thank you, Milan. Jarek, would you like to say a few words on what would you recommend? In your case, it's a long-term sustainable social enterprise that started in Bałtów time ago. So from where you would start with mention identifying the leaders in the rural area and to empower them and maybe to create these networking opportunities. Would you have anything else?
I will try with my friends. I think that I can't say that we have a new model, because every area is a very specialist, and they have a specialist people, they have a specialist nature, habitats, and therefore we have to find własną drogę, own path. And when we created Bałtów with many people, many organizations, we don't have many experience for business, for the cooperation. We will learn everything, but we want it. And of course, we have patience. It's one of the best things for me. If you want to do something new, create new reality, you have patience. And after 20 years, when we started, we have many more experience. And when we 1 year ago started create new area, the bees farm, the bees village, we started, of course, with talking with local people about this initiative, and we had many questions for this local people. First question was, do you want the new area, new activities, new local product touristic in your village, and why? And we przeprowadziliśmy szereg badań. We conducted research with Warsaw University in this very small area, because there are living 280 people. And very important for me was the model partycypacji publicznej, the public participation. And when the people that knows my idea and the people tell, okay, Jarek, we accept your idea, because for next 3 years, they will every time building place, garden, farms. After 3 years, the tourists are coming to this place, and the people have to be prepared for touristic.
To welcome that.
Yeah.
Yes.
The second, it's very important. You have to be a strong character, and
yeah. Again, leadership.
You must be sure. You must be true, and you have to talking every time with these people when you doing the change. I every day talking with these people every day. Of course, you have time.
Yes, community leader and community led. Thank you, Jarek. I would like to give now the floor to Helmut, and then we need to go to maybe for some concluding words for this session only, but we will continue in the breakout rooms building on this.
And we have to include these people for this action. This is the most important. This is the most important for me. Of course, we have to find money, and the people have to think how to keep the money for this organization, this bees farm. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, the community engagement, I think it's essential for this type of businesses to flourish and to be sustainable. Helmut, you have in 1 minute also.
Okay.
Sorry that we are
just a short comment on a comment in the chat mentioning that we would talk about micro enterprises instead of social enterprises. My personal opinion on that is that the methods and means to foster social enterprises are just the same like with any small enterprises. We had a discussion in autumn when we had a workshop about the national strategy for social enterprises, and some were complaining that the startup centers are so unhuman to the social enterprises. But I think it's a perfect way to deal with the brutal reality. So in the end, a social enterprise also has users, has to have a business model, because it's not a charity, it's an enterprise in the end.
Yes.
With a social business.
Exactly. Thank you, Helmut. We are going to continue these discussions in the breakout rooms later, so keep those ideas. But now, sorry, time pressing again. I would like to give the floor to you, Gianluca, to the president of the SCs, for some concluding words of this panel. That as said, we will continue later.
Thank you very much, Patricia, and thank you very much for the three panelists. I think we heard a lot of words starting with the letter L, and then we can, of course, because we are we know that there is this local force that is the most important thing to build upon for all these examples that are presented here. And Patricia, you were asking me also to connect with our observation in networks in other countries, in Europe and beyond. And yes, this is what is generally happening. Every local reality has something to build upon. A new initiative, an innovative initiative with social entrepreneurship. What is what have we seen here? The importance of the leaders, so the champions at the local level, pushing forward, and this is like a transversal phenomenon. But of course, there are many differences. What I think is also interesting is that everybody has a long-term vision. And I think that what has not been mentioned very much, but usually we see that there are other two elements in the game, two players. One are local authorities that can always play a role not only for funding, but also for giving legitimacy and or offering infrastructure to the structures. I think that in the recent years, with this social economy and social entrepreneurship becoming more and more popular, or at least more and more resonating in Europe, it is a little bit easier than in the past. And this also try to also to answer the question where we started from, to connect with the local and national authorities with the flag of social entrepreneurship as a way to develop and to tackle something. Last point to add is that from our perspective, of course, we are an international network now, and what we see is that many of our members find a lot of benefits, and not only members, people on the ground, in connecting to learn from what is happening somewhere else. Sometimes, well, last week I was in Dakar. We were in the Global Social Economy Forum, and it was amazing to see how people from Africa was using Canadian example to have a huge development in rural areas through women, and not only women entrepreneurship. And this is what is happening in Europe. So people from the Balkan are learning from Ireland and Scotland and so on. And I think it's also mutual learning. So the local can really benefit a lot from, you know, having a look, another word with a L, to learn with somebody who can be in the other side of the world, but doing exactly the same thing, or having a solution ready for my problem. This is and I'm not mentioning funding, because I think that funding is not really the first problem, but it's something that comes after that you have a strategy and you have found this leader and this energy to build upon. This would be
Thank you, Luca. Thank you, everybody. So leadership, the passion, the vision, the idea, the community-led idea validated, this social ecosystem, and then for sure we will need the funding and the long-term strategy once we get there, and to learn from others what we are trying also to do today.